The lights of Ireland's Got Talent glimmered across the massive stage, reflecting off the polished floor as a small figure walked forward, hesitant, barefoot, and clutching an old, taped-up guitar. His name was Miguel Santos, a 13-year-old boy from Cebu City, Philippines. The audience, thousands of miles away from his homeland, quieted almost instantly. There was something about the way he carried himself, humble, nervous, yet determined, that touched everyone watching. Judge Amanda Holden leaned forward, a soft smile on her face. "Hi there, sweetheart, what's your name?" she asked gently. Miguel's voice trembled as he answered, "I'm Miguel. I come from the Philippines. I sing to help my mama." A murmur spread across the audience, a mix of admiration and sadness. His clothes were simple, his accent thick, but his sincerity filled the air. Judge Simon Cowell adjusted his mic, watching him closely. "All right, Miguel," he said with unusual softness. "We're all listening. Take your time." Miguel nodded, swallowing hard. He took a deep breath, fingers trembling slightly as they touched the strings of his guitar. The lights dimmed to a soft gold hue. Then came the first chords of Hotel California. His voice, fragile, haunting, and pure, flowed out and wrapped around the silent theater. It wasn't polished, but it was real, carrying the weight of hunger, hope, and love for a mother waiting thousands of miles away. Each word seemed to come from the deepest part of his heart. When he sang, "Welcome to the Hotel California," his voice cracked, not from nerves, but from emotion. The audience could feel it, the story behind that voice. In his mind, he saw the narrow streets of Cebu, his mother washing clothes by the river, his little sister sleeping on a thin mat, dreaming of a better life. Every lyric carried those images, painted in sound. The camera panned to the judges. Amanda's eyes were already glistening. Beside her, Alicia Dixon held her hand to her mouth, whispering, "Oh my God." Even Simon Cowell, known for his sharp critiques, leaned back in silence, blinking rapidly as if trying to steady himself. Miguel's voice rose softly into the chorus, the sound of innocence meeting pain. When he reached the final verse, the entire arena seemed to hold its breath. His voice grew quieter, fading into a near whisper as he sang, "You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave." The final chord echoed through the hall like a prayer. Then, silence. Miguel lowered his guitar, eyes down, too afraid to look up. A single tear slid down his cheek. The silence broke into thunder. The crowd leapt to their feet, roaring in applause and tears. People were crying, clapping, screaming his name. Amanda wiped her tears and stood, pressing her golden buzzer with shaking hands. Gold confetti burst into the air, raining down like sunlight. Miguel gasped, covering his face as the crowd chanted, "Miguel! Miguel!" Simon smiled warmly, standing for once. "That," he said, "was pure heart. That's what this show is all about." Amanda ran on stage, hugging Miguel as he cried into her shoulder. "You just touched the soul of Ireland," she whispered, and for the first time in his life, Miguel felt seen, loved, and truly home. Backstage, the bright golden confetti still clung to Miguel's hair as he walked off the stage, trembling from the emotions that had flooded through him. The sound of the crowd chanting his name still echoed faintly behind the curtain. As soon as he crossed into the backstage hallway, his mother ran toward him, her eyes swollen with tears, her arms open wide. Miguel dropped his guitar and collapsed into her embrace. Neither of them could speak, they simply held each other, shaking with sobs. "Anak, Anak, you did it," she whispered in a trembling voice. "You made the world hear you." Camera crews surrounded them, capturing every tear and every word. The hosts of Ireland's Got Talent gently asked him how he felt, and Miguel, still crying softly, could only manage to say, "I sing for my mama, for my family, thank you, Ireland." His simple words struck deep, replayed over and over again on social media within hours. The video of his performance spread like wildfire across the internet. By morning, it had already reached millions of views, shared from Dublin to Manila, from London to Los Angeles. People captioned it, "The boy who sang from his soul." In the judges' lounge, Amanda Holden wiped her eyes again, still stunned by what she had witnessed. "I've heard hundreds of singers," she said softly to Simon Cowell, "but there was something divine in that boy's voice, like he was carrying the pain of 1,000 hearts." Simon nodded silently, his usual sternness softened. "That kid reminded us why this show exists," he said. "It's not about fame or talent, it's about truth." Meanwhile, outside the studio, Irish fans gathered holding posters that said, "We love you, Miguel," and "Cebu to the world." Many of them had never heard of his city before, but they now felt connected to it through his voice. An Irish charity even launched a fundraiser to support his family, promising to help them find a better home back in the Philippines. Miguel sat quietly in the corner, still holding his old guitar, the same one patched up with tape, the one that had carried him from the streets of Cebu to an international stage. When a journalist asked him what he would do next, he smiled shyly and said, "I want to keep singing, not for fame, just so people feel hope." His humility melted every heart that heard it. That night, as he lay in a small hotel bed beside his mother, he looked at the glitter stuck to his hands from the golden buzzer moment. For the first time, he whispered to himself, "Maybe dreams are real." A week later, the grand stage of Ireland's Got Talent glowed once more, brighter than ever. The crowd buzzed with excitement, waving small Philippine flags and handmade signs that read, "Cebu proud," and "Miguel, you're our star." The audience's love for the young boy from the streets of Cebu had only grown stronger since his viral performance. Millions around the world had watched his first audition, and tonight, they waited to see what he would do next. Miguel walked onto the stage again, this time dressed in clean, new clothes gifted by fans. His guitar had been restrung, shining softly under the spotlights. But what hadn't changed was the look in his eyes, that same mix of humility and courage that had captured so many hearts. The judges stood as he approached, smiling warmly. Amanda Holden leaned into her mic and said, "Welcome back, Miguel. How are you feeling tonight?" He smiled shyly. "A little nervous, but happy to sing again," he said in his soft accent. Simon Cowell nodded, saying, "You've already won our hearts, Miguel. Just sing the way you always do, from the soul." The stage lights dimmed once more, wrapping the arena in a soft glow. Miguel took a deep breath and began to play "Imagine" by John Lennon. His voice was gentle, pure, and filled with emotion that seemed to come from something beyond music. The audience fell into complete silence. Each word floated like a prayer, "Imagine all the people, living life in peace." His tone was delicate, almost whisper-like, but every note struck directly into the heart. Halfway through the song, the cameras captured audience members crying, holding each other's hands. Amanda's tears shimmered under the lights, while Alicia Dixon covered her face, visibly moved. Even Simon, who rarely showed emotion, stared down for a moment, blinking hard. Miguel's voice grew stronger near the end, trembling but steady, carrying the message of hope and unity far beyond the stage. When he reached the final line, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one," the entire audience rose to their feet, singing along with him. As the last chord faded, the sound of applause roared through the theater, louder than before. People waved Philippine flags, chanting his name again and again. Miguel looked around, his lips trembling into a smile as tears rolled down his cheeks. Amanda stood and said, her voice shaking, "Miguel, you've reminded us that music has no borders. You sang from your heart, and we all felt it." Simon leaned forward, smiling softly. "You came from the streets of Cebu," he said, "and now, the whole world knows your name. You've changed lives, Miguel, including ours." Miguel bowed deeply, pressing his hands together in thanks. As the music faded and the crowd's cheers echoed through the hall, he looked up toward the lights. For that moment, he wasn't just a poor boy from Cebu anymore, he was a symbol of hope, of dreams, of what the human spirit can do when it refuses to give up.